Alright guys, welcome back. We'll wait a second.
Who are they talking to?
What's up guys, welcome back. It's been a busy summer for both of us, but today we're going to do a bit of a brake upgrade to Dave's car. What we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the solid rotors that are on Dave's car, and we're going to replace them with vented discs from an 89 Corolla, and it'll use the same brake pad, but it has a different caliper bracket. So we went ahead and bought remans anyways, and we got rotors pretty cheap, so the whole thing altogether is like $150 Canadian, which is great.
Well, you want to set the stands on that side?
Oh yeah, I do. If you're good, I'm good.
Now, these brake lines are looking a little grotty, so before we disconnect the hoses, clean away as much rust as I can here, and then give them a quick spray with whatever penetrating gunk you have around. Excellent. We're going to let that sit for a few minutes, then we're going to bring the heat, or that's what I would have said, but they cracked freely after being on the car for 30 years. Go Toyota. I'm going to break the caliper bolt loose so we can get the rotor off and the caliper off. But actually I think before I do that, I'm just going to break this banjo bolt so that it's easier to unthread later. And then we'll do all that other stuff I already said. You're going to want to knock these brake clips loose. Just like that. Are you stopping or? I got this, Dave.
These will be around your brake hose. One of the easiest things I find to do, well, when they're on there pretty good, is get a flat tip screwdriver and a dead blow hammer and just work it from side to side until it comes loose. So the main reason why we're doing this is because the factory rotors are solid and these ones are vented. Well, we originally thought they were going to be a slightly larger diameter, but they actually look to be about the same. So that's good. You'll still manage to clear your 13-inch winters.
And that's nice and cheap for me.
And your brakes will cool off faster.
No downsides. Except this is cutting in that time for you, isn't it?
What?
When you're replacing your calipers or pads, you want to make sure all these little stainless shims are in here. And they are on this, but on the other caliper they don't come installed, so we're just going to look at this for reference. And then preload the new calipers with pads and shims right now, because that'll make things a lot easier. It'll be a lot quicker to put everything back together when the brake hose is disconnected, so we don't lose as much so we lose as little brake fluid as possible.
So we can toss the new shims in here, grease the ends of the pads, toss those in, and then later we'll come back and we'll put the return springs in. Yeah, this whole your whole old setup's not bad. It's not in bad shape. These calipers are larger, and it is the bracket part. The caliper part looks to be the same. So now we've got everything loose and taken apart. We're gonna disconnect the brake hose and get that out of the way. If you don't have new copper washers, you might not want to lose your old ones. And we'll take the banjo bolt. The caliper is now loose. Set it down here. Pan to drain out. This guy can now be fed back through here. Then I switch to my 10mm wrench. And hopefully this brake line comes out really nice and easy the rest of the way. Now this guy should wiggle out of there like that. Set that in there.
new hose. There. And get my brake line hooked up as fast as I can. Forgot to take the original clips off. I got me that hook thing up from up there, the hook tool.
Yeah.
First time you think just as fast as you can, please.
What hook, sorry?
The hook screwdriver tool.
I think that's on the bench. I thought that was on the bench.
Don't repeat that on the other side. Finish tightening this line up. Brake line slips down. I should have waited. Double check your brake fluid. As if you have to.
If you go to aftermarket parts that are not original equipment, just be fairly wary because some things are potentially going to be different. Clearances. The C-clip is abominably thick, and so we actually struggled for a little bit and just decided to use this one. But this one's also made out of a bit of a harder metal, even though it is thinner. So it has a bit more spring to it. The other one actually, from the other side, just snapped in half. This one's 31 years old and it's fine. Hello, I'm Cameraman Dave, and today in a new segment I'm just going to call Debunk. I'm going to be looking at different techniques I find on YouTube for car maintenance, hacks, etc. Today we're looking at a technique that can simply be done with a WD-40 and a sock. In the video I found, it said that it's free. It's not free, but it's 6 easy bucks. You can get a tiny one. You'll have plenty left over by the time you're done. But it's quick and easy, and if your wiper blades are not exactly brand new, but not totally damaged, it might be worth a shot. Full disclosure, I have tried this once before, but I kind of got unexpected results because I did clean the blades off after applying WD-40 with a bit of glass cleaner. So they would just drag and shudder as they went across the windscreen. This seems to have kind of diminished as an effect, and you can see they are moving smoothly across the windscreen. Now, I do have some streaking happening, but I don't think it's the WD-40. I think it's Rain-X. I've coated the windshield with some Rain-X because, firstly, the results are pretty desirable when there's a lot of water, but also it's an old Toyota windshield, so it's not the greatest. And I find that it kind of helps smooth out the pitting that definitely happens on those old windshields. The technique itself is pretty simple and self-explanatory. You need your sock, or your rag, or whatever. It has to be, reasonably clean, but not something that you want to hang on to for your feet later on. And, of course, the WD-40. This one just has the really neat little nozzle on it, but you don't need it to do this. You lift your wiper up, and spray down your rag or your sock. Scrub up and down on the blade. It mentions in the video that you get black residue on a white sock. I have a black sock, but I don't care about the black residue because anytime I've cleaned my wipers, I've ended up with black residue. It's not limited to WD-40. So lather, rinse, repeat for the other side, and we'll see what we end up with. No going back now. Guess we'll just hit the switch. They're dragging again. Would I recommend this? It's clean, but look at this. They don't really move that smoothly. I'm trying to see if I can maybe get them lubed up a little bit, but that's pretty conclusive, I guess. So, maybe you can see me better over here. Alright, so we can definitely say that it degreased the wipers to a point where they were gripping the windshield. So, that's not failure, but I worry about the motor for your wipers. Make sure that if you do this, you wash your windows really well. Just maybe run a garden hose over your windshield and then run the wipers, because it's going to really grab. But yes, it does degrease your wipers. It does get rid of those streaks. I'm Camera Dave. Nope. This is Cameraman Dave saying that this is not debunkable. Be careful. What I said earlier about keeping all of your OE stuff until you're sure the job's going to work is really, really key here. We actually just kind of stopped for a day because we were starting to get tired figuring out just up here where the banjo bolt connects didn't fit with what was supplied. It just was an ill fit. So we went back to the bolts that came with my first set of calipers, and they work fine so far. We still have a bleed to do, but we're not going to show that because we've already showed you a massive video on bleeding. So keep your OE gear until you're done. I didn't film an end for this episode.